Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, welcome to today's session number 12 on ergonomics for beginners, industrial design perspectives, and module 3 human physical dimension concern. Today's class is number 12, anthropometry, squatting and cross-legged postures. Now, earlier in the last session, we have stressed upon anthropometric landmarks and relevant application aspects of seating anthropometry, and that was based on seat desk type of posture. And there we mentioned that basic dimensions with context specific dynamic considerations makes design task or mode fit. Now, today's topic is anthropometry, that is squatting and cross-legged postures. Now, in this at the beginning, the first part we will discuss some of the postures where this type of floor seating are necessary or being practiced, and why it is relevant in our working conditions or working context, and the specific body landmarks we will discuss after that, and some representative human body data we will discuss. Now, here we can say that the task is being performed where a person has to sit on a squatting posture, and there she is using a small stool to support his crotch area, that is buttock. So, we require to know what would be the space necessary for support and the height, the seat, the stool height would be preferable. For that, certain dimension measurements are required. These type of dimensions in available sources are not specifically reported or available. So, in specific concern, if it is necessary, one can measure it also. So, in the next class we are going to discuss the measuring techniques where ready reference data are not available. There one can measure this type of data as we require. Now, in this we can say that with low height stool support is here, and in this right hand corner picture we can say that the floor sitting work posture, that is mixed posture, is squatting and cross-legged, and also mixed type of sitting posture like that. So, while working in a group, different types of floor sitting are used, and this type of floor sitting in a group also it creates an interactive environment where a group can perform certain tasks. Now, in some industries for specific requirement certain type of floor sitting is required, and specific to Indian context, the women, those who are employed traditionally, they are comfortable while working on floor, and that posture also being used in industries to match the industrial requirement and traditional practices of postures. Here, the task demanding pre-postural adaptation and body dimensional variations thereby. Suppose in a library case, when a person is reach the top shelf, to get lower shelf he has to bend, but whereas while bending sometimes it is necessary to have a squatting posture, and then while doing this squatting posture the total depth of body it changes. In this case also for different type of squatting, different types of body dimensions it takes place. Now, floor sitting provides free movement facilities and can create informal ambience where some serious topic can also be discussed. In a classroom where the design students are discussing some of the projects and they are generating some design ideas, at that time it is seen that in place of or instead of using a sit desk posture and individually working, it is better to work in a group formation, and floor sitting possibilities it gives that idea generating facilities, because the person they can choose their free body postures and can think along. Floor sitting preferred tasks, individual posture choice. Some like to work in a standing posture in a kitchen, some people also like to work in a sitting posture in a traditional way. It is seen that while standing and working for a longer time, some cases have been reported of varicose veins at the calf muscles at lower leg, but sometimes if there is a alternate postural changes as they are standing and squatting, sitting on floor in a cross-legged etc., then that chances of getting varicose vein problem reduces. Now, floor sitting also increases the interaction, and here what happens, if a single person or multiple person needs to come together, then what would be the space requirement? For that some specific human body dimensions are necessary. Posture at home feeling, like this type of postures, this gives a home feeling that is free to change at own will. So, flexible posture freeness are necessary, and for that what would be the human body dimension if we would like to give a design for this type of activities. Traditional task and posture, in this case the reach value, what would be the normal reach? that we need those type of data. Even if we change this traditional model, if we use this wheel on a desk and sitting instead of squatting, if it is a chair type of sitting arrangement, still this type of human body measurement data are necessary to consider for that design development. Now, cultural relevance of sitting in our society. Now, work posture and craft sector, the bamboo work. Now, certain activities that is found suitable to work on floor sitting posture. So, in that case, the human body dimension, the total volume, space and volume and the work equipment and the workspace, that while making that relation, it is necessary to understand the human body dimension in this posture and movement patterns and the variety of rich values. Work posture and craft sector, metal work. Earlier we have seen that bamboo craft and even the metal craft also. Now see, the specific posture is being adopted by people. Now, tasks traditionally practiced sitting on floor posture, there are some in a metal craft industry, all type of different types of activities in that metal craft is being shown here, and most and all the activities are being done on a floor sitting manner. Now, design induced postural adaptation. Now, sometimes it seems that this person is squatting here, but he also can stand and work. So, in this matter, design induced means this machine made this person to adapt this posture, and then if we need to have a series of basins in rows and columns, then what would be the gap in between, so that this person can stand and squat, and so what would be the distance that this specific gaps space requirement is there, and the additional allowances freeness that should be considered, and for that we need to understand the body dimensions for these postures. Now, in certain cases we say that for leisure, for free sitting, still we have a specific body dimensions. Now, if we allow this free sitting space, and for that their movement and to have proper sitting, that freeness, at the same time to interact among themselves, what would be the total space requirement? That would be the individual space and the allowances for free movement should be considered. Task and posture. This type of specific task, this is the posture are adopted. Then what would be the minimum space required here? That measurement is necessary. In certain cases, the task being studied to understand how body movements are freely chosen. Now, for this type of activity, to how while making a small craft activity, this person moves, what is the movement pattern? When he requires a seat, small stool, and what type of leg movements he makes, and accordingly if we want to make a seating device here, so we need to understand his movement pattern. And so, a specific simulated experiment was developed where this person is made to work at his own will, and the videography was taken, and the online videography presentations are on the screen, on a grid screen, so that from a distance it can be recorded and accordingly it may be analyzed. Now, the same posture, but we cannot remain in a posture for longer time, the same posture. Like here, while reading this book, the straight erect posture was there, and slowly the bend increases, and again to have a erect type of posture, finally the book is lifted, so that in this case what happened, to maintain this eye to this vision distance, the posture changes, and accordingly if we want to make a cover on it, a specific space, then total human volume and its movement pattern and the space requirement we need to consider, and accordingly the design development would be possible. Or if we need to practice this type of posture, then whether we can have a sitting platform and a backrest type of thing, so that this person can have a backrest and can do some meditation type of practice. If this type of design we feel need to be made, then this length, breadth, depth and height of this person in this posture is necessary to measure. So, with all this we can say that the squatting and in cross-legged postures and some mixed floor sitting posture, specific body dimension measurements are necessary to develop some designs that we may require or we may use. Just one example. This is a specific seat design where the person can sit in a normal sitting posture, as well as this seat provides a space where this person can sit in a cross-legged sitting posture. So, with this design can provide a facility, the floor sitting facility, that type of thing, as well as a high platform, so that it can also be used as a normal seat. So, for that this type of body dimensions are necessary to understand. Now, the space interactive. In this left hand corner, this figure says that they are using the seats, but interaction is little less, though the teacher concerned can go around and to meet everybody, but still these children they are not in a good interactive arrangement. But whereas the floor sitting, it sometimes it increases the interaction where the teacher can meet student easily. So, sometimes the furniture provides better opportunity, and some other time also without furniture the floor sitting arrangement also increases the interactivity. For that this type of body dimensions are necessary to measure. Privacy space demarcation and relation with body posture and dimension. Now, this person is sitting here, but this space he made that he spread here. So, this person's height and then this sitting area like that. So, the proportionately this space gives him a privacy feeling. So, what would be the relation between the body dimension and the privacy space feeling that we need to study properly? Sometimes like that, sitting and privacy enclave. Now, this is a vast area in a temple front space where there is no demarcation, but the person sitting and he has kept all the his work equipment in such a position that it gives a privacy feeling. So, what would be the relation between this space and this privacy space? What would be the relation area wise? Like this. Another example of that. Now, task, movement, posture and space constraints. In this case, a very vast open space is working. So, he can take any posture from any side he can approach, but in some other space this person it is constrained. So, while moving in this and what activities he is supposed to do, accordingly the space has to be maintained. So, the body dimension is also necessary for that. Means the basic principle here is that if a person stand and if he sits like this, so the square area and then the height, the ratio, and when a person stand, the square area and the height ratio, there is a inverse proportional rate. Means if the height is more, if the height is more, if the and then this space here is the inversely proportional, and here also like that. Now, space and posture, where the space is a given space is there for sitting. This is in a temple area where the pilgrims are supposed to cross like this way, and then they can meet these people. So, this much space is provided. Now, question comes whether there will be a special seating arrangement or it will be kept free, so that when we are not sure how many people occupy here, the open floor seating will be better for this. That judgment we require. Now, posture can adapt anywhere if it is a floor sitting posture, like that way. This is in a city area, in front of a very big hotel. The snake charmer is playing snake, where a foreigner is looking at, and now see the posture and etc. But this is not possible with any body supportive devices or specific furniture. So, it can be said that a floor sitting posture has some facility to get adapted anywhere. So, it is also necessary. So, accordingly, we need to think habitual floor sitter. Now, in this case, these ladies could have used this place as seat, because this is a normally sitting kind of thing, but still they are sitting on a squatting posture. So, can we say that this is habitual floor seat, they are the habitual floor sitter? So, now if somewhere we want to employ somebody or use somebody's skill, those who are not habitual in a new workspace, and working with a specific equipment, can alternatively we think that the work station or workplace can be designed according to the occupant's habitual practice, and in that case we need to understand this requirement. Now, in certain cases, if we want to develop a specific kiosk for this type of things, in this case, if we want to make some special arrangement here, a design here, so that for the buyer he does not need to bend in such a way, as well as to get reach the seller here, he does not require to bend much or to extend himself much. So, in that case the normal arm reach and etc., it has to be considered. So, in this posture normal arm reach value at the front, and sometimes if it is necessary in the sideways and the back, side and back, these reach values are necessary to understand. So, postures other than chair and desk bound task and standing task is necessary. Some basic dimensions and reach values male female combined in squatting and sitting in cross legged postures are necessary in our context. Now, we will be showing now some of the slides where the different landmarks and some specific measurement data we are now we will be showing, discussing this, and all these dimensions are in percentiles of 50th and 90th percentiles respectively, and values are millimeter, that we are going to show now. Now, in this case the length, breadth, depth etc., and the different reach values. Now, if we see the some data concern that if a person is as we have shown in earlier classes, that these figures have some specific numbers. This is a reference number, and these reference numbers are here, and the name of the parameter and the definition of the parameter like this way. So, here this 200 like this way, this is the normal sitting in a normal as we little bend and sit, the height, normal sitting height, and these are the normal sitting height. And when you are sitting erect like 201, this erect sitting. Now, the erect sitting height is that maximum vertical distance from floor to the top of the head sitting in erect stretched posture. This is the height, and accordingly the eye height will be there, and then mid shoulder height, and then this is that mid thigh height, right knee height. Why we require this knee height? Suppose if we design some play activity, that where this is a play item. So, both two persons can sit, and here when he sits in a cross legged posture. So, this its some clearance should be maintained, and for that this height is necessary, this thigh height, this is a knee height is necessary. So, knee height is that maximum vertical distance from the floor to the top of the medial surface of the right knee. If in certain cases the left knee is higher, then we must consider the higher value for design purpose. Now, the left knee also like that, left knee height, then elbow to elbow relaxed dimension. Elbow to elbow relaxed dimension means when we are sitting, keeping these two arms at the side of the knee, at that position the elbow to elbow, that distance, the knee to knee distance is that from this knee position to knee position, this knee to knee distance, these are the breadths. Now, depths. What is the depth? If we sit like this way, then from buttock position to the right, this is a knee, this is the position, and then left buttock to left knee is also like that, this measurement. Now, arm reach, length and height. See, if the total arm is raised, this is the arm length and height. So, the arm reach, length and heights in different postural variations of while sitting cross legged on floor, this arm reach value, the sitting cross legged in erect posture, vertical comfortable arm reach height from floor. And now, if we have the grasp reach like this way, so from this grasp reach to the tip, it is around 7 to 10 centimeter. So, the vertical arm reach, and now if we want to grab something on the top, then it should be below 7 to 10 centimeter. Now, at different heights, the reaches. If a person sits in erect posture, from the axis that touches the back and buttock, from there the total distance, the comfortable distance, this is the depth or length and height from floor, this point. And similarly, at the midpoint is also like that, length and height. And at a comfortable lower distance, when it touches the floor, this is the length and the height. Height may be touching the floor. In bending posture, suppose in a shop or at home while doing something, we sit in a cross leg and we try to get something from the front. At that time, we may need to bend it. Sometimes like that way, if we want to make a curved surface, from there we need to take some item, then what would be the length and heights from here, from the point of each buttock point, buttock reference point. There we can say that with bending the normal upper arm reach length in a comfortable position and the height also, and like that front at a same middle comfortable height and length, and the lower level the reach when he touches the floor. So, at that level we can have a surface like that. Now, at the sideways, in the erect posture, the sideways is that upper comfortable reach, at the middle comfortable reach and lower comfortable reach. At the bend posture in the sideways bending, from this mid body point, where when we are sitting in an erect posture at the center body axis, and from that point when we are bending, that comfortable upper arm reach, length and height, upper that middle range and height, and then lower length and the when it is touching the floor. If someone cannot touch the floor, then lower here we may have a specific height also. In backward movement, if we need to take something from back, then upper comfortable reach, middle comfortable reach and lower comfortable reach. Now, what we can do with this? If a person sit like this way, if a person sit like this, then what happen? From the top where he can touch, bottom he can touch, center he can touch, at a sidewise, frontwise and backwise. By that way, we can make a total volume like this, total work volume like that. So, this is the arm workspace envelope in a cross-legged sitting posture, in a erect and when we are considering these dimensions in a bending, it is a bending posture. So, this is a backward movement. Now, some of the data here is given in a standing, in a erect sitting posture, vertical arm is, all these dimensions are in millimeters. This is the depth. So, some of the depth like upper arm reach, frontal distance, etc. in erect posture, height, length, etc. Some dimensions are provided in this slide. So, this slide can be noted to keep as reference. Now, in a squatting posture is typical squatting posture. Subject sits erect in stretched except in normal slouched squatting posture on heels in a low position with legs drawn up closely in front of the body, weight equally distributed on both the feet, arms rested on knees and looking straight ahead. This is the standard posture. Now, heights, normal squatting height means when we are in a normal squatting position, when in little slouched position, and in the erect squatting height is that when we are stretched erect, at that time the total height to the top, from the floor to the top, this is the normal the erect squatting height. The mid shoulder height and this is the knee height, the knee top point, these are the different heights. Now, a specific requirement we can say that a crotch height. Crotch height is this height, means where the lowermost body is there. This height is crotch height. It is specifically necessary to have a low sitting stool device design, and when the body in a different movement, what would be the variations in that, it is necessary. Then breaths, elbow to elbow distance in a relaxed position, knee to knee, outer knee to outer knee distance, knee distance, and then heel to heel distance, it is necessary, and this specific posture dimensions are required when we make a Indian style toilets. There these dimensions are necessary to make that a total pan dimensions. Now, big toe to big toe distance and these different things as from back to knee, back to toe, back to heel, these distances and from and the total arm reach distances are also required to measure, and these are necessary in addition to these dimensions for just for an example we can say that toilet area. Now, the different heights, reach values, frontal erect posture touches, suppose while in a toilet sitting position, if we have some knobs, water knob or something, or maybe towel holder or some handle to grab specifically for the aged people, or maybe when the total in a train journey where the total space is in a shaky position, so in that you need to hold a rod or a handle to stabilize your position, sitting position. At that time, what would be the heights and etc. Like in that example, we can take that length and then height at the sitting at the middle, height and length and the lower reaching distances. In bending posture, this maximum it can go to here. So, if we have to design something that handrail, so this dimension and then the bending dimension in between somewhere we have to keep it. So, if this is the erect position and if this is the bending position, then within this space we have to keep that handrails. Now, this is sideways bending, top reach, maximum reach, upper comfortable reach, middle comfortable reach and height, and the lower comfortable reach when it touches the floor. Similarly, the stretched and little bending, the comfortable upper height and length, middle length and height, lower length. Backward movement. Sometimes in this posture also we may need to take something from the back. Now, at that position, what will be the comfortable top, distance and height, comfortable length and height at the middle position and the lower length comfortable. This is the maximum bending at the back, these different reach values. Now, some data concern like height. In this slide, it can be noted specifically that some dimensions are provided here. All these dimensions are in millimeter, like vertical arm reach, erect squatting height, normal squatting height, mid shoulder height, knee height, crotch height means this one, crotch height, and elbow to elbow distance normal, and knee to knee distance relaxed, heel to heel distance relaxed, and big toe to big toe relaxed, these dimensions. So, some dimensions are provided here, and in this figure we can say that body in motion, static as well as dynamic dimensions. Now, when this lady was in a erect posture relatively, then the height, and when she bends to reach something here, then the height reduction as well as the buttock movement, it takes place like this way, the foot movement is like this way. Then what to, if I want to make a stool here, then what will be the design for that? For that, not only in a static squatting posture the dimensions as well as task demanding dynamic posture and the measurements in that would be considered. And some dimensions in the squatting posture as provided in this may be noted specifically. All these dimensions and etc., the source reference is Chakraborty D 1997, Indian Anthropometric Dimensions for Ergonomic Design Practice, published from National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, India, total 161 pages. Here 23 different locations in India are covered, 710 men and 251 women were measured, total 961 male and females, and total dimensions were measured 290. This book is available still at the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, and most of the dimensions and data are whatever we discussed. This book is, this data is taken from this book concern. Now, the dynamic reach developed is influenced by posture, that is, sitting is a comparatively comfortable work posture than standing. Use of additional standing and sitting platform, that is increased reach in increased foot base. Weight in hand, heavy weight decreases the reach values of arm reach values. Variations in clothing, tight cloth shrinks reach limits, because if we wear a very tight cloth, then our reach limit will be reduced, we cannot extend reach. Proximity to obstacles, wall or obstacle in the work field of a person decreases the reach. Reach envelopes highly specific to situations and tasks specification to be performed to maintain shape, restrictions are applied. Functional arm reach, that is grasp reach, this is total reach and this is the grasp reach. This distance is found to be around 85 to 90% of the total arm reach value. Means roughly it can be said that around 10 to 7 centimeter of this space required from this position to this position. This is important in order to define the optimum location within a 3-dimensional space to be operated by hands for various reaches. Now, with this we are concluding this session, and now in next session it will be the class number 13, and there we will discuss the measuring techniques. Whatever in this last few classes we have discussed the landmarks and dimensions and the requirements. Now, how it is measured, that we will discuss in next class, and after that, after getting all these measurements, how to make this data statistically statistical treatment of the data will be done, and the percentile calculation will be discussed. Means how these data are used in a design, guidelines will be provided in that classes. So, next class it will be measuring techniques. So, with this we are concluding today's session. So, thank you very much.